Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Girl Talk Mental Health dares to go where others won't. We unpack the hard truths about mental health, dissect trending topics, and challenge the stereotypes and stigmas holding us back. From navigating the 6 dimensions of wellness to redefining social norms, this is more than a discussion. It's a revolution in how we care for our minds and souls. Ready for bold, honest conversations that spark change? Let's dive in. It's time for real talk with real impact.
Listen up. Is healing really possible without community? Because when life breaks you, community can help hold the pieces until you're ready to rebuild. This week on Girl Talk Mental Health, we're diving into the powerful truth that connection really is the medicine. And today we are diving into community and connection, why support networks are key. And we have our special guest, Miss Tiffiney Hall, and she knows the power of healing and community and unpacks why mental health journeys don't thrive in isolation and what you can do to rebuild the support system your healing depends on. We're going to discover practical steps to find and build your tribe, stop suffering in silence, and unlock the mental and emotional support that keeps you grounded through life's toughest seasons. So let's welcome our special guest, Miss Tiffiney Hall.
Thank you.
So welcome, Tiffany.
Thank
Tell
you.
the audience a little bit about who you are.
Sure. My name is Tiffany L. Hall. I am the founder of Positive, which is a full service speaker academy. We serve business owners, entrepreneurs, emerging and aspiring speakers on how to connect their messages to their business messages, their stories to their brand, and create clear, concise messaging. I am also the founder of a nonprofit organization called A Positive Place. And with A Positive Place, we serve victims and survivors of domestic violence. And just what you said on how to make that healing, that traumatic experience, something positive and not so daunting like we usually think of healing.
Good, awesome. So you ready to grace the audience with your plethora of information
That's
and knowledge you have? Let's
that's,
go.
that's
Okay, so what's the most unexpected way you found healing through community during a difficult time in your life?
woo, and telling my truth and deciding that I wasn't going to hide. So, how I ended up in this space in June of 2005, which is this year, 20 years ago, I was stabbed 7 times. I'm a survivor of intimate partner domestic violence. I was stabbed 7 times by the person that I was in a relationship with at that time. And ironically, when I first stepped out and I started speaking about it, I was on this gung ho, I'm telling my story, not realizing that I wasn't telling my story from a healed space.
Mm,
I was out here. There was a point in one of the things in conversating is us being completely vulnerable and completely honest and telling the truth. There was a point where we had reconciled even after it happened. And what I didn't know and what I didn't realize at that time, because again, I wasn't speaking from a healed space. My message could have been taken the wrong way by a woman who was in a similar situation
mhm,
or a worse situation. And she might have thought, well, Tiffany's saying I can stay.
mm,
And that might have cost her her life. That might have cost her, much more than what she was experiencing at that time. So I stepped away, did my healing work, and here I am 20 years later, same message. Same message. I'm out of that relationship, long gone, long past.
mhm,
But I say that to say there comes a point in a time where you own your truth
mhm.
and you're not ashamed of your truth. You're
Right.
not ashamed of what you went through to become who you are. And in telling my story and in telling the truth, what I found is that there were other people out here who could relate to it.
Absolutely.
You know, when I stepped away, I did the healing work. That shame, that doubt, that fear started to subside because people would say, I needed to hear that.
Right.
That was me.
And that's good because most of the time people think community is like the homeless shelter or the
Right.
women's shelter or some big organization, when a lot of times the community support you need is that woman next door who went
Yes.
through the same situation, or your aunt, your mama, your cousin, whoever. So
Right.
community is way more than those organizations that people feel like are out of reach as well.
It
Sometimes.
definitely is. And it could be like your social media community. Because
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the internet, with social media, we connect on a larger scale now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so there are people who are on social media who you meet and they're like, I needed you. So like you said, it doesn't have to be community how we identify it. Your
Mm-hmm.
community can be so much more and is so much more.
Absolutely. That's good. So why do you think that so many high functioning women, which we always look at it as just women, but it's also men as well, struggle to ask for help even when they're in emotional crisis?
Woo, because if I ask you for help, that means that I'm not perfect. That means
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong with me. That means that that appearance that I put forth, I don't have it all together. And I think, you know, when you talk about that high functioning, that's one of the things with high functioning women, men, whatever, we don't have it all together. We are trying to figure this out as we go. Some people who have just figured out things in ways that some people haven't. But again, like you said, when we come together in community, let's figure this thing out together.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that high functioning comes with the mindset that I'm going to be consistent in what I do. I'm going to show up how I show up despite what anybody thinks. And when we think of high functioning, and again, this is just me in my opinion, we think of it in values and material things.
Right.
Of high functioning as I get up each and every day and I commit to what I'm doing. I'm consistent. I'm showing up how it is that I choose to show up. You and I just had a conversation. You know, high functioning is ensuring when I get on here today, I ain't gonna look a mess. Because I
Mm-hmm.
could have got on here in my bonnet, in my
Mm-hmm.
pajama. You know what I mean? So
Right.
high functioning is just a matter of being mindful how it is that I show up at all times, how I perform at all times, and how I conduct in the standard that I hold myself in that expectation at all times, despite how anybody feels, despite what anybody thinks. That's how I'm going to show up.
Right, because that breaks the stigma and stereotypes of people thinking that when we talk about high functioning, it's only the people with the good jobs, the good degrees, or the coming from wealth or whatever. But you could be high functioning in any community that you are in. There's different types of high functioning and different levels of high functioning within communities.
Right, right.
Right? Like it's kind of like cliquish a little bit. Like different cliques have different types of definitions of high functioning and high standards or whatever in their own cliques based off of your community. So that's important too, to for people not to think that you have to be at this very high societal norm standard in order to have a community, a functioning community at that as well. So that's good information.
That's good stuff. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I totally agree.
So what was your community when you were going through the things? What
Ooh, my community. You know, ironically, I didn't have the community. I didn't have the community because what I was saying was so far from what was believed in this space. You know, it was so far believed from not believed, but it went against what a lot of traditional advocacy would be in the domestic violence space.
mm-hmm,
You know, it was different than what most, like you said, those communities that are formed organizations, you know, that have those name recognitions and the notoriety and they're recognized, you know, on
mm-hmm.
different levels. So I created the community,
Right, good.
still creating the community.
Mm-hmm,
You know, so it's there, it's built. I have, you know, a following, but I'm still creating that community. And that community that has been created is a matter of first and foremost, you know, I know where my faith lies.
mm-hmm.
You know, I know where my faith lies. And I believe that my community has been created because I believe you should live boldly, loudly, proudly, and unapologetically. And with that being said, the women who show up in those spaces in the communities that we're in, it's more of a lived experience. You know, you have the research, you know what's out there, you rely on that, but that lived experience is what draws people into community. So, in creating that for people, because we
Mhm.
get in spaces where it might be just solely research, it might solely be the experts, but what about the people who have had that hard knocks life experience and they bring something of value to the table? We can't
Absolutely.
dismiss that,
Hmm.
can't dismiss it at all.
That's good. Is that one of your organizations that is y'all missions to help us to build the community, to be a community for other people?
So with a positive place, and a positive place is right here in my local community.
Okay.
Place, we have a peer support group that serves victims and survivors of domestic violence, and with positive in general. So there's something on social media called positive sisterhood, and that's one of those spaces where, listen, you have a lived experience, you come to the table with that. Like, we appreciate that, we value that, we don't dismiss that lived experience.
Hmm.
We don't say because you don't have the credentials or you don't have this or you don't have that, that you don't belong. So that's
Hmm.
more or less, a social media presence with the sisterhood.
Okay, good sisterhood. I love that word. So let's take a quick commercial and then we'll be right back with Miss Tiffany Hall for her to give us some more awesome nuggets and impactful insight about how to build a community that's good for you in your area and for your mental wellness. So stay tuned.
You weren't meant to break, you were set apart. What if your deepest pain was the birthplace of your greatest purpose? Meet Gingerbread, a child caught in the chaos of her mother's depression and suicide attempts. She never asked for trauma, shame, or to feel invisible, but she found something greater. Set Apart, the journey to find hope through loneliness, shame, and death is more than a book. It's the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. If you've ever said, "I'm fine," when you were falling apart, if you've ever thought, "This story isn't for me," it is. Don't let fear, excuses, or busyness rob you of healing. This book will shatter the silence, stir your soul, and remind you, you were never forgotten. You were set apart. Set Apart, the journey to find hope in times of shame, loneliness, and death, by author Virginia Dale Manning. Available now, because hope can't wait.
All right, welcome back to the second half of this awesome conversation with Miss Tiffany Hall. We are diving into different aspects of community, letting you know that community isn't just these big organizations that we see on TV or that we think are not accessible to us, but community can be right in your backyard, next door, right in your local corner, by the next to the corner store or whatever. But is to tap into your community so that you can get the help that you need on any level that you are in. So, Miss Tiffany, tell us, how can someone begin building a support system if they feel like they have no one right now?
Whew. I would think that to begin building a support system, look for spaces and places with like individuals. Like minded individuals. What is it, first and foremost, that you're looking for? What is it that is of value to you? Because I'll say this, and again, just being honest, I found myself in times connecting to individuals, and it wasn't the spaces that I thought, or I ended up finding out that I thought I needed it,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't really what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
But just because, how they may show up on social media, you know the following, and I've connected, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't really what it is that I need. So be honest with yourself. What is it that you're looking for, first and foremost?
Yeah.
Are you looking for a space where you can just get that everyday inspiration? Are you looking for a space in a community where you're trying to accomplish something, and this community will push you and hold you accountable to help you accomplish it? Or are you really just trying to get through the day? Be honest with yourself. How involved do you want to be? How involved do you not want to be? What is it that you need? And a lot of times, going back to something that you said, we're not honest with ourselves about what we need. We'll get in community, we'll get visibility, we'll get attached to the people who have eyes on them, and it's like, this isn't what I wanted. I really just wanted to serve. I wanted to give back. So be honest with yourself and
Mm-hmm.
ask questions. Don't be afraid
Right.
of questions. What is it that you do? What is it that are your core values? What's important to you? Like, don't be afraid to ask.
So it sounds like you're saying people need to stop and do a self-reflection often. Because sometimes we transform, we in a different space. We could be in one space in the morning, and then by evening time, we in a different space. So having those constant check-ins with yourself is what you're saying, with the being honest with yourself, and knowing where you at certain times and certain spaces.
At all times, and understanding, like you just said, everything begins with self. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I always believe, do not give your power away. You
Mm-hmm.
hold your power. So when you're able to determine what it is that you want and that you need unapologetically, when you're able to enforce your boundaries and say no, and say, this is not what I need at 6 o'clock in the evening. It was what I needed this morning.
Uh-huh.
And being
Uh-huh.
okay with that. I don't need it. And as women, we change so much. Like you said, we might be feeling one way in the morning, and by the time we go to bed, I don't even want that no more. But being honest with you and not allowing anybody to put anything on you that's not you.
Ah, yeah, that's the nugget there. How can people break through that too? Because sometimes, especially if you're in a community, it could even be the right community.
Right.
Sometimes you feel like, oh, this person has this going on, and
Mhm.
I don't have that, so something is wrong with me. How do people break through that type of mindset?
Again, start with you. So, what is it about her that's making me feel this way? So,
Mm,
it may just be that lack of confidence, or
mm-hmm.
that lack of not being sure of self. I think as women, and I'm gonna put this out there. When we come to a space where we learn to love ourselves, when we learn to truly, I just turned 50 Sunday on
Okay, happy late birthday.
I turned 50 Easter Sunday.
Oh,
The ideal of Resurrection Sunday, I turned 50. The confidence that I have at this age is not about arrogance. It's not about anything else. But I am so happy with me. I love me. I love this messed up, perfect life of mine. Like, it's perfectly imperfect, but it's
right.
mine. It's mine. Every decision that I've made in life, I've made. And that's the thing. When you see women, do not think that my life is perfect. Do not think that your life is perfect. We have imperfect, perfect lives
All the time.
all the time. So don't think, again, because it's whatever time and we got this hair's a mess. I don't have on what I would have. Like, come on. You have to show up in spite of how you feel. You
Mm,
don't know what another woman has gone through or goes through to get to where she's at. So don't judge. Don't judge the
mhm.
journey.
And don't negate what you have
No.
will not benefit someone else.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Like, we have to stop playing small in spaces where we were meant to show up big.
Mhm. As you are.
We are meant to show up big. Like, stop playing small. I talk to women sometimes, and I'm just like, I'm amazed by who they are, and what they've accomplished. It's not a competition. We need to lift and know that lifting it is okay. It's
Mhm. And then when you was talking about lifting and doing that, I visualize, like if I step on a stone, that's for you to step on my back to get to the next level. Then I step on yours, and then you step on mine. We building each other by being stepping stones for
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah, and not in stepping on each other's back and lifting and not backstabbing.
Absolutely.
And not backstabbing. If I have a problem with you, I'm going to come to you. If
Hmm.
it's nothing that's of concern to me, if it's nothing that's detrimental to me, I'm going to start with me. Why am I
Hmm.
feeling this way? Do I need to have a conversation with her? No.
Right.
It's me that's feeling this way. And just
Mhm.
again exploring, why am I? What is it about her? Is it how she shows up that maybe I lack that confidence or that self-esteem to show up in that way?
Hmm. Ooh, Tiffany, we could talk all day, child, because this is some good niggas and they need to hear this. So, we got to circle back around the sun and get you here again. But I'm at my favorite part of the show, and it is the spotlight question. Are you ready for my famous,
Yes, let's
awesome
go.
spotlight question? You up, ma'am?
Okay. Okay.
So here's the question that I ask all of my guests because I just like to see these different viewpoints of this same question.
Hmm.
So, what's one mindset shift or action step you believe can transform how we approach mental health and wellness in our daily lives?
Truly understand who you are. Truly understand who you are and don't play small. So I haven't shared this. April 1st, it was announced that I was chosen as a 2025 Remarkable Women winner by Next Star Media Group, which is the largest media group in the nation.
Okay.
Thank you. I was one of 125 women. They sent us out to Hollywood for 2 days. We were there April 13th through the 15th. We had a whole Jennifer Hudson episode that was dedicated to us. We got to do the Spirit Tunnel. And in that, coming back, I'm still processing. And that mental health shift is in that understanding. My daughter nominated me. I was chosen as one of those 125 women for a reason. How do you continue to play small in such a big space?
You can't.
You can't. And that's what I need other women to understand. So now moving forward, how do I use this remarkable women, this visibility to say, I need women to not play small at
Mhm.
all? Because I need you to understand, I have it right here. We have a replicated Hollywood Walk of Fame star that they got us, and the process that they had to go through to get that. And the more and more I thought about it, so now I have this platform and this opportunity to impact the lives of so many women on a bigger scale. Use your superpowers for good. And what that does in exchange for you mentally, physically. When I'm in a space with women, that mental health piece is just, it's sewn into, it's poured into. Get into those spaces where your brightness, where your star, where your shine is going to be welcomed. And we want to hear from you. Like, we need you in these spaces. We need you to show up because there are other women who need to see you.
And the beautiful thing about that, and congratulations, that
Thank
is big. But it's big, right? But
you.
we want people to know, like, before you got the big stars, you were getting small stars. And
Yes.
that's how you built up to get the big star because you was comfortable with those little stars and you recognize, hey, this little star, not saying it's little, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Your beginnings is that I keep on building on those beginnings and those small stars because you have a goal to get to the big stars.
Yes, and processing that, taking the time. Like I said, I just came back from Los Angeles out there. Then I turned 50 a week later. Then in June, it's 20 years since the stabbing. This is the year, this is the time. And taking a moment and processing all of that and saying, again, this is my little big life.
And
And
it's not time to scale back because sometimes we
it's
get to
not,
a certain point, we like, oh, I'm good. Let me just stop.
and you repeat that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you gave me, I got goosebumps. It's not time to scale back. It's time. It's all gas, no brakes. It's not time to scale back. Sometimes we want to go, oh, I got this. I'm good. No, this is an opportunity to upscale.
Because just imagine if you had scaled back when you had those other wins years ago, we wouldn't have you today.
I appreciate that. I
Mm.
appreciate that.
All right, so tell the people where they can connect to you at our audience, and if you have some type of special offer you'd like to present to them.
Sure. So you can connect with me. I am Tiffany L. Hall, Tiffiney L. Hall, on all social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. You can visit my website. Again, it is the same: www.tiffaneylhall.com. So what I have, I am about to do a 7-city book tour.
Ooh.
Yes, and we are kicking off this book tour with a training in Middletown, Pennsylvania at Harrisburg International Airport, Fairfield Inn. The offer that I have is for the first 45 people who purchase the book. The book is $25. You can attend the training at no cost.
Okay, well, send me the link. I'm gonna be one of the first
Yes, you
25.
can attend the training. And what this is about, the book is beyond, I have it right here actually, if you can see it. The book is beyond words.
Uh-huh.
Mastering the art of communication to unlock wealth. I have a lot of people who ask, how do you get paid in speaking spaces? So it's about honing in on your message and mastering
Oh.
the art of communication. So again, first 45 people who purchase the book, you get to come to the training at no cost.
Well, send me that link and make sure you have it in their bio so that we can put it in the description so you all can go to the description of the show, tune in, subscribe to her channels, buy her book, and she has more awesome inspiration because I'm inspired for sure. And I appreciate you
Thank you.
giving us your knowledge today. And I mean, I'm really inspired. And we're gonna have to connect some more because I need to be in that community with
I
you, okay?
listen. I
In
got
your
you. I
community.
got you.
So, yeah, tune in next week for more mental health awareness tips that actually work because this episode gave you permission to stop doing it all alone. And see you all next week.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.
Are we off air? I love the poor. And that's one of the things that I want to ensure moving forward. Again,